allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call to order the May 8th, 2018 Board of Aldermen meeting, City of Ansonia. Roll call, please.
Alderman King.
Here.
Alderman Stone.
Here.
Alderman Tripp.
Here.
Alderman Vaccaro.
Here.
Alderman Cassetti.
Here.
Alderman Philpone.
Here.
Alderman Dempsey.
Here.
Alderman Kislitis. Alderman Yaman. Alderman Rivers.
Here.
Alderman O'Brien. Alderman Short.
Here.
Alderman Blackwell.
Present.
Alderman DeLibero.
Here.
11 present, 3 ayes.
Declare quorum. I have a motion to accept the previous minutes. Mr. Short, second by Mr. DeLibero. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carried. What was that?
Abstain.
One abstention? Okay. Public session. Anyone from the public wish to speak? Yes, please come forward, identify yourself. And we'll limit our comments to 3 minutes, please.
My name is Ed Teodosio from Teodosio & Sons Construction Company. I'm a city resident and Mr. President and board of members. The reason why I came is because about 3 years ago, whatever you want to call it, an ordinance was passed that said that even if a person owes taxes in the city of Ansonia, if he's a qualified contractor for the job that has to be done, he can bid on the job, get the job, and pay taxes off. That's what we did, okay? We did this, here's what we gotten so far in 3 years. The firehouse.
Eagle Hose.
Thank you. And when you get old, you forget. And the backstop at the Little League field. Other than that, we haven't done a job in 3 years, and I was just wondering, how come? I mean, we want to be able to have the opportunity to bid on the work. I haven't been asked, other than one, we did bid on one, excuse me. Other than that, we haven't had an opportunity to do any work in the town, and I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, I'm done.
Mr. Teodosio, tomorrow I instructed the Public Works Director to give you a call. The dugouts up at the Nelligan Field, I want to get a price on the 3-wall dugouts on two locations. So you're going to be getting a call tomorrow on that.
Okay. On a note like that, I heard something from Paul Mangle, who's was the AD at Amity for a long time. With that Title IX thing that's going on today, here's what they do. And you would know about this because the big septic tanks, they set a base for a septic tank. It's got a floor. They tip them up. They build, they have them secured. And you have a floor, you have walls, and you have a roof.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Save a lot of money.
Well, the city's going to be pouring the slabs tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
And when they're done, I told Mike to give you a call to go up there so you can give us a price, the city a price on the walls, block walls.
And
Okay,
we will
thank
have
you.
3 quotes.
Right.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to speak? Yes, sir, please come forward.
Lieutenant Travis Nelson, Hilltop Hose Company 5. Here to address comments that were made during last month's meeting, stating that we wouldn't be receiving the roofing and siding that was bonded in the past fall. Stated that the Public Works came up, investigated the grounds, and said that we didn't need it. So I was just wondering if you could provide some clarification on that.
We'll have to get a clarification. Mr. D'Alessio, who's not here tonight. Okay. Do you have his phone number?
I do.
Maybe you could just give him a call and, okay?
Gladly.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Short.
That was a bonded item, and it was approved and bonded for, so it would be nice if we looked into it and made sure that
I hope there was no confusion, thinking that it was part of a separate mold issue that the city took care of and Public Works did a great job with, but this is a completely separate item. I just want to
Okay,
ensure
we'll
that
look
it
into
gets
it.
done.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else from the public wish to speak? Young lady here, please, is 3rd row.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Christopher Ahern. I'm actually here as a member of the Little League Board in town. And I'm reading a letter from our president, Colleen Rondon, who is not available tonight to be here, but she would like to have the letter read to all of you. To whom it may concern, Ansonia Little League would like to take this opportunity to express its concerns regarding the facilities at Nelligan Field on Doyle Drive, where the softball players have their games and practices. I met with Jeff Capola and Mike D'Alessio on December 1st, 2016. I brought forward a wish list of needed repairs and upgrades to the softball facilities. Among other things, it included field upgrades such as a pathway to the backfield, concrete dugouts, clay for the infields, and fill for the dips in the outfields. I was assured that all these proposals would be necessary and would be completed. By the spring of 2017, the only completed repair was the path to the backfield, created out of road millings. No other repairs have been attempted until this spring. A week before the spring season, without any communication to the Little League, the chain link fencing that formed around the front field dugouts was removed. Then the dugout benches were removed and the ground prepared to pour concrete foundation on April 23rd, which is the day that games actually began. The field was rendered inaccessible and unsafe. 3 weeks later, the situation is the same. While unavoidable, weather issues have played a role in this delay. We don't understand why the concrete pad and benches have not been installed by this time. I'm asking the Board of Aldermen to support the completion of these dugouts within the next 2 weeks. Our players' and coaches' safety is at risk, and we are losing significant revenues, approximately $100 per game, from our concession stand when the front field is not being used for games. This, in addition to the reduction of funds to the softball program's city line item, is crippling our program. It will also compromise our ability to host all-star games this summer. In recent years, the city of Ansonia has found money to fix Little League and high school baseball fields at Nolan, create new travel soccer fields at the Nature Center, renovate a building to become soccer's concession stand at Apestone Park, and implement a youth boxing program. Don't you think it's time for youth softball to get some attention now? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to speak? Ma'am? Name and address for the record, please.
Sure, Sarah Hearn from Hodge Avenue. I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of the status of Nelligan Field also. I'm a parent of 3 girls who participate in the town softball program and play at this field. Not only do my children and their friends play there, but also my husband and my father coach there. During the spring, you could find my family up at Nelligan Field, sometimes 4 nights out of our week. Softball brings great joy to our family. However, since the start of this season, there has been a black cloud over this joy, which is why I'm here. Nelligan Field is presently under construction. Just before the opening of this softball season, work on making new dugouts began. The chain fence and benches that were once there were removed. Instead, now, there is a framed-out foundation with metal poles sticking out of it. This just does not seem acceptable. The foundation was still not poured as of today. The start of the softball season should not be a time to begin such a project. Safety is a concern, and Little League is losing revenue. The snack shack was not open for the entire first week of games as a result of this situation because teams had to play on the backfield, which is like walking through a swamp to get there because of poor drainage. 2 years ago, members from the Little League board made a list of updates that were necessary for Nelligan Field. Dugouts were among this list, yet here we are 2 years later and there are no dugouts. The field is often unplayable as there is not proper drainage, and very little from the original list of requests has been done. This is an injustice to the girls from not only of the town of Ansonia, but also Derby, as they play under our charter as well. It is unacceptable as a parent, and is just an embarrassment when teams from around the valley come here to play. It is unfortunate that girls' sports in this town are not valued more. While I am speaking today about the present condition regarding Nelligan Field, this seems to be a general trend. I urge you to please look further into this and respond to the dugout issue and the overall conditions of Nelligan Field. It is time to make this right for the youth in our town, and more specifically, it is time to make it right for these young females.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to speak? Yes, please come forward. Name and address, please.
Candace Dawn, Gardner's Lane. I too am here to speak about the conditions at Nelligan Field. Some of you know me from the baseball program. I have a son that came through the baseball program. I also have a daughter. I've had the great pleasure of being a part of Ansonia's Little League for many years now, both as a parent and a coach. My daughter Michaela plays for the softball program where I volunteer as a coach. My son Andrew came through the baseball program and is now at the high school. Over the years, it has become increasingly apparent that there is a disparity in the way the town of Ansonia prioritizes field maintenance and upgrades to its youth athletics fields. Being a female athlete myself, growing up in a neighboring town, I saw firsthand what girls in sports can achieve when they have the support of their community. The girls in the Ansonia Little League softball program are missing that support. Game after game has to be rescheduled because the smallest amount of rain renders Nelligan Field unplayable for days. Players and spectators come from surrounding towns and have to trek through a swamp to get to the field that is playable. Countless empty promises have been made. Yet the athletes and coaches that make up Ansonia Little League softball program continue to play on. On April 23rd, it was my team that arrived at Nelligan Field, excited for the first game of the season. After months of being stuck indoors, tirelessly practicing new skills, the girls were eager to get on the field and get those new cleats dirty. What we found upon arrival was a field that was unusable and unsafe for play. Concrete forms have sat empty since that point. The tangled remains of the former benches remain at the side of the parking lot, a hazard to players and spectators. And yet again, the players, coaches, and spectators trek through the swamp to the backfield, and we play on. The Little League and high school fields at baseball fields at Nolan have been renovated. Money has been found for this and for other programs. It is time for the town of Ansonia to make the softball fields a priority. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to speak? Yes, please come forward, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
A name and address, please, for the record.
Yes, Breon Sanders, 28 Howard Ave. I'm the unit director at the Boys and Girls Club, right over there. I really would like to thank you for this opportunity to speak this evening. Again, my name is Breon Sanders, and I am the unit director, the proud unit director of the Joe E. Smilo Clubhouse, located right on Howard Ave. I'm here to share with you some insight as to the positive impact that the Boys and Girls Club has in Ansonia. I'm so proud of our organization and the work that we do. We are an essential asset to our community. We understand that after-school hours are just as important in a child's life as the time that he or she spends in school. Research shows that what happens during the out-of-school time can have a dramatic impact on reversing the most negative trends facing our youth in our country. Specifically, youth dropout rates, obesity, and violence. 29% of our violent crimes committed by juvenile offenders occurs between the hours of 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. Affirming the importance of the Boys and Girls Club, we strive to provide safe after-school programs and activities in a positive environment. As Ansonia currently has, Ansonia Boys and Girls Club actually has 350 registered club members at this point, and we are growing. Here are some alarming stats that I would like to share with you at this time. Only 51% of our members qualify for free or reduced lunch, which means they fall either at or below the poverty line. 67% live in a single household, but more importantly, more than 5% of our members live with someone other than a mother or father. I am here today representing our members and our families who rely on us to provide the programs and activities and urge you to continue with supporting our efforts, helping the children in Ansonia, especially the ones who need us most. Thank you. I actually have a parent to speak on behalf as well in our Ansonia Boys and Girls Club Youth of the Year.
Hi, my name is Valerie Sorrentino. I'm a resident on 9 Fort Street, and I've been a resident for 11 years. My children, Nevaeh and Mateo, attend the Smilo Clubhouse. Nevaeh has attended the program since 3rd grade. She's now 16, and she actually works part-time at the clubhouse. My son Mateo is 11, and he's been a member since 1st grade. They absolutely love it at the program. They actually refer to the clubhouse as home on occasion. You'll always hear them talk about Breon, Barron, Jimmy, Miss Kim, Shay, and Alex as family. My husband and I are very proud parents, and we're proud for many reasons. One of them is the reason why I am standing before you today. My children's willingness to participate and remain within the Boys and Girls Club organization. I don't actually have to send them there. They choose to go to the club every day and every summer. Nevaeh has made this her part-time job, and in fact, she's considering attending college to become an attorney that advocates for children and resources such as these. Our children know how important this program is to the youth in Ansonia, and they want to be a part of sharing what this organization has to offer. They want to show people that this is a program for every child, for those that are in need and also for those that want to extend a helping hand. My children have learned this not just at home, but through those very doors at 28 Howard Ave. This is that safe, diverse environment we as parents and leaders continue to say that we want to give our children today. It's here and it's right at our fingertips. This is a healthy outlet for all of our children. This program helps today's youth build within themselves. It preps them for the future with various opportunities and platforms. They can come here again to a safe, fun, healthy atmosphere, and above all, to just be kids. The staff makes it their mission to impact each child positively. They make it a personal connection beyond the classroom. Everyone works together, everyone helps one another, and everyone is treated with respect and love. The staff never gives up. They want to see this program and all of these kids succeed. And I personally commend them for all that they do and for all that they give up unselfishly. It's undeniably amazing. The program, especially in today's environment, is crucial. So obviously, funding is imperative. So many children out there need the Boys and Girls Club for so many reasons. I know my children will tell you personally the same. My 11-year-old son spoke in front of hundreds of people at a Boys and Girls Club fundraiser. With minimal assistance, he wrote his own speech without hesitation. I can't even get him to make his bed on a daily basis or take out the trash or read for 20 minutes a day. But he did that because he knows how important it is. He's only 11. He gets it. He knows what this means to other kids out there, that truly do need the program and just in general. We're always saying that it takes a village to raise a child. Well, a program such as this is a huge part of what we refer to as the village. The symbol of the Boys and Girls Club is two joining hands. These children need this organization, and this organization needs us. We can't lose something this essential. So please consider all of this when allocating funding. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ryan Thomas. I'm 17 years old. I was born in Ansonia. I've been attending the Boys and Girls Club since I was in the 3rd grade. A lot of things we do at the Boys and Girls Club, benefits like Keystone Youth of the Year that I was a part of, and I'm glad that I got to experience that because growing up I didn't have much of a lot of things to do. I lived in the projects and a lot of people were scared to come in, so I never have family or friends that came over my house or was more of a part of my life. But coming to the Boys and Girls Club, I experienced a lot of that, and I learned teamwork, planning, organization, and most important, self-confidence. I'm standing here today speaking to the Aldermen of Ansonia as a representative of the Boys and Girls Club. That's a huge thing for me because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to stand here and do this today. And I'm also standing here as a representative of the hundreds of members that we have today and thousands of alumni that live in this valley. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public that would wish to speak? Mr. Mazzanti.
Edward Mazzanti, 21 Castle Lane. I brought this up at the police commissioner meeting about a stop sign on South Cliff Street and Prospect Street there because somebody already almost had an accident. It was told to me that her daughter was going to hit over there. And another suggestion, maybe they should look into getting the fire marshal a new car, I think. And that other issue with Persian Drive in Clifton, they never put that sign up there that the state sent the city the letter of putting up the sign and everything, and they got the arrows there, but there's no sign there yet on Persian and Clifton.
Okay, thank you, Ed. Anyone else from the public wish to speak? Anyone else from the public? Public session is closed. Thank you. Public official session, Mayor Cassetti.
Good evening, President Vaccaro, members of the Board of Aldermen, and residents of the great city of Ansonia. As you know, I talk a lot about improving Ansonia's infrastructure. And of course, that includes road repaving and reconstruction. There are over 200 roads in the city of Ansonia. So far, with the next 15 streets to be paved this spring and summer, we will have paved 60 streets throughout the city. I anticipate that within the next 2 paving cycles, we will cover 50% complete of all the roads in Ansonia. It is an aggressive plan, but we want to address roads and that have been neglected. Improving the lives of our residents. Thank you, Mike DeLessio and the Public Works Department for all their efforts in regards to the others. I also want to recognize Rhonda Perini in the Blight Office. Just this past month, they have brought in $95,000 in blight lien payments. Great job, Rhonda and Dave. I also want to thank Darlene Zuiza for presenting me with a handmade plaque, which is proudly displayed in City Hall. If you haven't seen it, stop by and look at it. It's really beautiful. It was a plaque made from the 100-year-old tulip tree that needed to be cut down by the library on South Cliff Street. Darlene wanted to show her appreciation for my love for the history of Ansonia. Thank you, Darlene and Gary and their daughter Desiree. I am honored. This past month has been all about giving back to the community. And last weekend, the Ansonia Mayor's team consisted of President Vaccaro, Alderman Domenico Filippone, and Greg Martin, and I went to West Haven for the annual Multiple Melanova Bowl-a-thon. I am pleased to say that an unprecedented, shocking, come-from-behind win, Ansonia defeated West Haven Mayor Rossi and her team to win first place. I just want everyone to know that this is just a friendly competition for a great cause. Ansonia 2, West Haven 1. But who's counting? Now I have some good news and bad news to report. Well, the good news is I received a thumbs up on the Connecticut Post for my efforts to stay healthy. Well, they would probably be giving me a thumbs down for the participation in the May 5th contest of the Cinco de Mayo. I joined fellow mayors and selectmen and residents for team's annual taco eating contest to benefit Meals on Wheels. The winner ate 12 and a half tacos. I ate 6. Again, who's counting? 2 weekends ago, many of the members of the Board of Aldermen, Senator Logan, and others joined us for the bridge placement at Pershing Drive. The bridge, which I would like to name Copper City Pass, is a weatherized steel that is the color of the copper that was manufactured here over 100 years ago. We are hoping to place the trolley tracks from Wakely Avenue atop the bridge with a sign for all those passing to remember our rich manufacturing history. I am excited about the bridge and the completion of the segment of that riverwalk. The concrete has been poured and we will be wrapping up the project soon. Finally, last but not least, I want to thank Rich Bashura, Finance, Bo, and the Finance Committee for their efforts to finalize our budget. There is a lot of hard work involved. Our city budget will now move on to the Finance Committee and the full Board of Aldermen, as Finance will be wrapping up the final meetings in the upcoming weeks. Thank you to everyone for their hard work. Please keep in mind that we need to put our residents first. We want, as always, to improve the quality of their lives and to reduce the tax burden on them. I appreciate you working with me towards these goals. Together, we can really improve the lives of our residents, and after all, that is really why we're all here. Thank you, and God bless the residents of Ansonia. And now I would like to turn things over to Rich DiCarlo and to thank him for volunteering countless hours towards creating our new city seal. This is an exciting time for Ansonia as we recharge our city. Tonight, it is only fitting that we have the presentation of our new city seal. Let's have a round of applause for Rich DiCarlo.
Well, I'm going to invite, ladies and gentlemen, the board. I'd like to present you the new seal of the city of Ansonia. It's a exact it's update of the old seal with where our little stodgy Anson comes up there. Now, has a dignified look. It's editable. I can make you smile if you want. It's very computerized, and you can have a lot of applications on it. I'll show you. This is the process. The image took about 42 hours. Computer time to create. It's not just. I got a lot of complaints of everybody wanting to, make Anson Phelps smile, but you have to keep him in a dignified posture. So what I do is I found two portraits of Anson Phelps online, and this is the main portrait that was used for the original. And what I do is I combined a earlier version of Anson Phelps with the older version of Anson Phelps, and I took his facial expression, and what I do is I combine the two to get the final results. What this is a vector art. What the process is through creating a vector art, which is like, in essence, drawing with electronic spaghetti. So you're laying little lines, you're bending the lines, bezels, they're called bezels and curves. So it's a matter of just tracing with, if you ever look at packaging, you'll see the entire thing explained. It's tracing with lines. So once that's created, I was able to do shadows, and the shadows then have to be outlined, and you have to pick which features you want to enhance and whatnot. Then we've got the black and white, and then once we've got the black and white out, we'll put the color. There we go. That's the first.
No one's going to be happier about this than ex-6th Ward Alderman Pat Henry. Been asking for this for years. Good job.
Thank you very much. He is one of the people that have approached me over the past years. Any other questions? I'll give you further to look at, and thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard. Corporation Counsel, Mr. Marini.
Mr. Picard. I can give an update on ATP and Palmer Building. We have completed a final version of the sale documentation, and now the ball is in the purchaser's court. We're waiting for executed documents. We hope to receive them, hopefully not too much further out from this meeting, at which time the city will in turn execute the documents, and we will complete the first phase of the sale of the ATP and Palmer buildings for redevelopment. So congratulations to this board for pushing the project this far, and I will give an update as soon as it's received from the developer. In addition, Sheila O'Malley will give a little more detail on this, but I joined our economic development team last week in making a presentation to the Department of Economic Development on a brownfield rehab grant that we're hoping to secure for Ansonia Copper and Brass and the surrounding industrial parcels. It's obviously a prime objective of this board and our administration to finally achieve remediation and the redevelopment of that enormous copper and brass site that is in excess of 50 acres, and we really believe holds the key to really reigniting the economic engines of the town. We'll hear back on that bar grant hopefully within several months, but Sheila will give you a little more detail there. And finally, I would like to reach out to the Board of Aldermen's Ordinance Committee. I've talked to our fire marshal, and we do need to put a compliance ordinance together to help out with some issues around town. Looking for that meeting sometime within the next month. Other than that, happy to take any questions.
Any questions, Mr. Marini? Thank you, John.
One last thing, on our opioid litigation. So as you know, we've brought in a firm, Ventura Law, to begin the process of studying whether or not it makes sense for the city of Ansonia to commence a lawsuit against manufacturers and distributors of opioids. We've seen a number of other towns join that effort, and in a number of states, we've seen those efforts actually get kind of far along in the nature of the tobacco lawsuits. So we're in the discovery phase here, not in terms of court, but in terms of the city, working with the law firm, talking with ARMS, and talking with our public safety departments to start an analysis of how we've been affected by the opioid crisis to assess what damages would be if we did follow through with the suit.
Thank you. Any questions? Sheila Mail, the Economic Development Director.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President, members of the Board of Aldermen. I'll try to make it brief, but I have quite a few things to talk about. As John mentioned, we did apply, and I think I spoke about two grant opportunities. One was the Opportunity Zone, which I want to say, thankfully, we were awarded. The governor has nominated one Opportunity Zone in Ansonia, so we were one of 72, thank you, Mayor, communities that were afforded this opportunity, and it really is an opportunity. As I spilled the water caps on. As I had indicated last month, I believe, this will allow for developers to invest in our Opportunity Zone, which is in the downtown area, take any profits that they make from the sale of a previous development, invest those properties in our Opportunity Zone, and then get capital gains relief from going forward with their project. It's a little complicated, and IRS is working out the details of that, and I'll have more to report on it. The bar grant that John Marini talked about, I want to thank the mayor and John for their help. We did go to the interview process at the state DECD offices. That was the second step after the application, so I feel pretty confident that we will be getting some brownfields area-wide assessment funding or planning funding, which will help out with Ansonia Copper and Brass as we go forward, identifying what the infrastructure needs are, identifying where the best place to put a new road is, some of the other issues, some of the cleanup issues, et cetera, getting us costs to make that project more developable or more attractive. The Riverwalk, as the mayor mentioned, we're wrapping up segment 8. We are waiting for approval to move forward with the segments 3 and 4, which will go out to bid. Wakely Avenue is 15% complete. So from Division to Hall Street, we've done all the drainage, the sidewalks, and the curbing. And they're going to move on from there, from Hall Street, going forward. And also some light pole bases have been replaced on Wakely. Prindle Avenue is still waiting for comments from the region back so that we can get out to bid this summer on Prindle Avenue and start work in the fall, hopefully. I wanted to thank Bobby Evans from the Board of Ed, his facilities manager for the Board of Ed. Just a special thank you to him because he actually had an RFQ for citywide and Board of Ed engineering on-call services. He included, it wasn't asked, but included the city in that bidding process so that we can also use or take advantage of the on-call services of the engineering firm that was selected. So I think, that's a perfect example of working together with the Board of Ed and trying to collaborate interdepartmentally. So thank you again to Bobby Evans, who's the facility manager for the BOE. Let's see, I think we have an Asian grocery store which is going to be opening its doors on Main Street, Lower Main Street. So that's exciting. The Barber and Cosmetology School looks to be opening on June 1st, I believe. Let's see, Armory wrapping up actually this week and removing the scaffolding from the exterior. So we'll be back to you to discuss, you know, what future plans lay ahead of us. Peck, done. And so, Peck School is, I think they seeded the grounds on Monday and wrapping up that project. So hopefully the residents are happy that the school's gone. What? The brick. Okay, sorry. The brick. I think I'm screaming. I feel like
That's why she asked you to say it.
I knocked the water bottle down. My voice is loud. The bricks are available at Public Works for people who are still interested. We happen to save quite a few bricks. You can build a little mini tech school at Public Works. But I think that's it. Unless anybody has any questions. Yes, I'm so happy.
Do you have any concern, anything concerning the firemen's request about the hilltop post roofing and siding?
Yeah, I mean, if I assume the roof needs to be replaced, and that was a referendum question, so I think we'll be moving forward with that. But I have to defer to Mike DeLessio. He's our Public Works Superintendent, and he's in charge of every facility. Every city-owned facility is under Public Works. So, you know, I trust that the firemen are you know what they're talking about in terms of the roof integrity. But I also want to defer to Mike DeLessio for that. But money's in place. No one's touched the money yet, and no, they're not going to. So it's there. Okay. Any other questions? I really hope
Yes, Sheila,
so.
I have
Yes,
a
sir.
question for you.
Yes, sir.
If the roof at Hilltop Post
Yes.
did not need replacing, why was it put out to the voters, as Mr. Vaccaro likes to say, for the voters to decide whether that roof should be replaced or not?
Well, I think in general, there was a line item for facilities, citywide facilities maintenance. And so, you know, some of that money will be used at the discretion of the Public Works Director in terms of what needs to be replaced and what doesn't need to be replaced. I think you're right. That's a good point. Some of the fire station roofs need to be replaced, and I'm not sure. I mean, no one has said otherwise, so I'm actually not sure why we're even questioning that.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Thank you, Sheila.
Okay.
Mr.
Thank
Greg
you.
Martin, Director of Constituent Services, come on down.
Yes. Thank you, President Vaccaro. Good evening, members of the Aldermen. Just to wrap up on a few spring thing items that we've been discussing, and I've been discussing probably for the last 2 or 3 months. Going to lead off with this Thursday, Friday, the double lamps will be installed on Main Street from the UI, so we're going to get brighter and lighter on Main Street. Also finishing up is a project that started last fall with, we did a pilot wall, the granite wall that's kind of on the rear side of Big Y. They took down all the invasive plants. This past week they installed, or they planted about 75 Russian sage, and they're going to be putting in creeping phlox along the top, all lavender color. This is a pilot project. If it goes over well and the invasive plants do not come back after they've been eradicated, we may go on to several hundred more feet of wall. Also, we locked in landscaping for the Armory grounds. That should begin this month also, and also be completed. The whole hillside is going to be landscaped over, total beautification makeover. Totally paid for, $7,500 from 3 generous sponsors. We have Ion Bank, Regional Water Authority, and Southern Connecticut Dental Group, each contributed $2,500. So I think everyone's going to be looking forward to sitting at the stoplight there and looking up at a beautified hill with a lot of nice vegetation planted. And batting fourth in my cleanup position tonight is rapidly coming forward is the college baseball game. It's going to be next Tuesday evening. So right about this same time, we'll probably be in the fifth inning or so. Sacred Heart University versus Albany University. Schools are really excited to show up here. It's for a good cause too. All the net proceeds will be going toward Ansonia youth sports programs. And I've also gotten Bobby Valentine to show up and throw the first pitch to Merrick Massetti. Bobby Valentine, former manager of the Boston Red Sox, New York Mets, Major League ball player, and current athletic director for Sacred Heart University. So everyone, please show up. Small admission price. We have the concession stands open. The field looks wonderful, and I'm hearing 80 degrees on Tuesday and sunny. 5 o'clock start. Gates open at 3. And any questions?
Thank you, Greg. Thank you. Mr. Bashara?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I'd like to congratulate all new grandmas out there. So anybody that's become a new grandma, they should be congratulated.
Thank you.
I've left everyone a copy of the appointment letter or the resolution or appointment letter for the auditors. I need to get something into OPM, having the town designate who we're choosing for our auditors for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2018, requesting that the Board of Aldermen approve this appointment of Mishad Akavala, Woodridge, and Casano, who is our local auditors for the city for the fiscal years ending June 30th, 18 and 19, and also authorize the mayor to sign any and all contracts pertaining to that. The contract is not to exceed price of $44,000 per year, which is probably within a few $100s of where we were for last 2 years contract, and it includes for the audit and it's shared by the city, the Board of Education, and the WPCA. So I'm looking for a motion to approve that at some point during the meeting. Copy of the financials for this month have been put in all your mailboxes, also been issued digitally. Mr. Connolly, Dave Connolly, IT Dave, has handed out the tablets tonight. We have cases that were not all delivered, but when we get them, we'll put them in your mailbox. So you should be able to kind of work with those and start working on your tablets. The vote has finalized their budget and has forwarded their recommendations to the Board of Aldermen. So that being said, I've also put in all your mailboxes a copy of the Board of Aldermen's work in process budget, which has taken the Board of Apportionments and moved it over one line, so you can start working on modifying and updating the budget to a finalized point in time. We're still gathering information. There's pieces of the puzzle that we don't know all the answers to yet, so as you have meetings and we continue to discuss it, we'll be working on getting some of those finalized and locked in. We're also working on an upgrade for the firewall for the city computers and the expansion of the Wi-Fi at City Hall. Dave Conley and I, we're starting to put those pieces together. We've got some installs to do, but we're going to be working at making our computers better protected and long last. They started today to install the fiber line going from here to the high school. I've been talking about it for about 4 years. After all the aggravation between the utility companies, we're finally starting to see this, probably 2 or 3 weeks. To that end, we've had discussions, I've had discussions, and I believe Dave was with us, with the Board of Education, Dr. Bacco, and their IT, Vinnie Pastor, and our hope is to lock in or tie into their phone system, which is voice over IP, and have the city share with them. We'll add our cost to it to upgrade it, but instead of buying 2 separate phone systems, once we get this fiber line up to the high school, we'll be able to tie into their system and utilize one large phone system for the whole city. That's the intent. That's what we're working. They brought in their vendor, Mitel. We've been talking with them. So we're, again, working with the Board of Education, trying to get some things shared with them and help save money for the city overall. So that's all I have right now. We'll continue to work on the budget.
Any questions, Mr. Bashir, tonight? Guess not. Thank you, Rich. And per his request, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve Mishad Cavallo, Woodbridge, and Casano as the city auditors. Yep. Motion, Mr. Cassetti. Mr. Schuett seconded. Any discussion?
And to make the mayor available to pay any bill that is necessary. Sign any contract.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carried. Thanks, Rich. Chief Hale.
Good evening.
Good evening.
President, members of the board, very, very briefly, two announcements. 2 months ago, you approved the changing of the name of Railroad Avenue to Chief Daniel Hayes Drive. So next Tuesday, a week from today, is May 15th. It's National Police Memorial Day. As part of National Police Memorial Week. So we're going to unveil the sign that day. Mayor, we're looking at 11 o'clock in the morning. We only have
That'll
an
be
8
good.
in the afternoon.
Yep.
So we'll formalize that and finalize that, I believe, tomorrow. But 11 a.m. next Tuesday, Railroad Avenue. Again, that was the site, right around the site that Chief Hayes was mortally wounded. Also next week, you should have received your invitations, our biannual award ceremony. It's next Thursday night, the 17th, at Ansonia High School at 7 p.m. We encourage everybody to attend, the media please as well. We have quite a few awards to hand out, some tremendous work that these police officers have done. Going to recognize some citizens and one retiring citizen we just learned about today. So we encourage everybody to show up for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief Hale?
Pursuant to our conversation 2 months ago, is the speeding trailer now in use yet, or?
It is. Its location, I'm drawing a blank on its location right now.
I'll just let people know. Woodbridge Avenue, like we discussed 2 months ago. Thank you very much.
Mr. DeLisio, Public Works Director, is not with us tonight, but he submitted a detailed report in your packet. So if you have any questions, please contact Mike. Thank you. Committee reports. Finance Committee, Mr. DeLibero.
Yes, move to pay all bills if found to be accurate and correct.
Is there a second on that? Mr. Blackwell, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. I also want to say regarding the Finance Committee that the Aldermen will be meeting with the Board of Ed Monday, April 14th at 6 p.m. And also we're going to, yes,
May 14th.
May 14th.
14th.
At 6 p.m. Also, we're going to be scheduling some Finance Committee meetings tentatively for the 17th and the 21st. And we're going to follow it up with a public hearing tentatively scheduled for May 30th. Okay, Public Works Committee, Mr. Stowe, any? Yes.
I'm sure you can't change the meeting with the Board of Ed as far as time, but the other meetings, I mean, can we push those up to 6:30? That's all I'm asking.
I think we can, yes.
6:30?
Yes, 6:30.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. DeLisio is not here. Do you have anything to say regarding Public Works, Charlie?
No, I do not.
Okay, thanks. Arms Committee, Mr. Blackwell, or?
Yes, the report is not complete due to the way the month fell, and they're still collecting, but as of the time that this was printed, for the month of April, Arms responded to 254 calls for service, with Griffin Hospital receiving 138 of those transports, followed by Yale with 15. Those were the top two. For the month, the revenue, like I said, is still being tallied, and right now they're at $52,521.95.
Thank you. Motion to accept that report? Mr. Schuert, second by Mr. Cassetti. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. WPCA Committee,
Nothing much to share. We're gonna set a rate in the next 2 months, and we had our audit was finished, and the audit came out really good. We're in financially very good shape at WPCA, and I think that's about it.
thank you, Mr. Stowe.
Yeah.
Fire Committee, Mr. Schuert.
Department activity for the month of April, highlighted by 10 motor vehicle assists, 2 building fires, 4 cooking fires, 2 electrical hazards, 7 system faults, and 3 water leaks. A total of 40 calls during the month of April, plus 2 fire marshal investigations.
Thank you. Motion to accept fire, Mr. Cassetti, second by Mr. Dempsey. Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, Ordinance Committee, nothing to report tonight. Mr. Yaman is not with us. The Housing Committee, Mr. Cassetti.
Yes, they had a pretty busy month. On Wednesday, April 25th, they had a meeting, and it was a review of the financial statement, which was found to be correct and accepted. There was a motion for executive session to discuss some Water Pollution Control Authority litigation. I guess we'll get some follow-up on that shortly. On monthly reports, there was an issue with smoke alarms sounding at the Monsignor Hayes, and reviewed with the possibility of adding vented hoods and over the stove to alleviate the smoke from emitting any smoke during cooking. They're looking into some quotes from electricians, and the housing will be submitting the application for a 2018 Emergency Safety and Security Grant. And so it won't cost the city anything there. Also, it was covered that there's a contract for replacing the roof at 63 Woodlawn Avenue, and it was awarded to V. Nanfido Roofing and Siding. They were the lowest bid, so they took the job. There was a St. Patrick's Day luncheon, which was the residents were very happy with. The keypad security system that's at the Woodlawn area there, James O'Donnelly Apartments, is no longer working. It's not operating. Therefore, a new key fob operation system is being installed, or has been installed, which the residents are happy about. Public housing recertification of 70 Woodlawn has been completed and mailed out. That's concerning the smoke-free policy. And the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development has awarded the Ansonia Housing Authority 5 veteran-assisted supporting housing, which is called a Bosch voucher. This is big. We're able to give some veterans preference in getting housing. Commissioner Scarpa had a question regarding the smoke alarms, and I just wanted to add, we had a problem where they with the fire department arriving at the scene for an alarm, and the dumpster was in the way of the panel, and that's been straightened out because it was moved up too close to the panel. They had to horse it out of the way and then get into the panel and shut everything off. That's been moved. Commissioner Scarpa, Director Nagano, he replied that the issue has been resolved, and as I have just said, the new fire panel has been installed. There was a compliance coordinator report by Carol Mobilio. There are currently 2 vacancies at John J. Stevens. There are 3 vacancies at the location of the Monsignor Hayes. The James J. O'Donnell has 3 vacancies. And these are potential Bosch veteran tenant sites that they're looking at. Scattered site property at 11 May Street. Property's been vacant for 36 days, and is going to be able to be filled by June 1st. And there was a motion to go into executive session, and they came out and didn't do anything except adjourn.
Thank you.
That's my report.
Sounds good. Thank you. Motion to accept that report. Mr. Rivers, seconded by Mr. Filippone. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Cassetti. You're welcome. Municipal reports. Mr. DeLibero, your hand was up. Thank you.
Motion to approve both recommendations, number 1 through 4.
Or second on that? Second. Mr. Rivers, seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. How about 5, 6, and 7, Mr. DeLibero?
Oh, yes, also late communications, 5, 6, and 7.
That's a motion? seconded by Mr. Philippone. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. The mayor covered the land use office previously with the $97,000 or $95,000 brought in by the Blight Department. Very commendable. Thank you, Mayor.
Awesome.
Tax collector report and request for refund. Mr. Dempsey.
There's no tax collector report, however, I would like to make a motion to accept the request for refunds if I'm free to collect.
Seconded by Mr. Schuler. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. We have 3 accidents and claims. Mr. Delibero.
Make a motion to refer all accidents and claims to corporate counsel.
Second.
Mr. Philippone, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Communications. Communication number 1, Festa Committee, Holy Rosary Church, regarding Class 3 bazaar and Class 1 raffle permits. Mr. Cassetti.
Make a motion to refer to ordinance to set up some parameters for future raffle and bazaar type permits.
Is there a second on that? Mr. Rivers, seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Number 2, communication from Mr. David Elder. Mr. Elder is with us tonight.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. And it's been a while before I've been before the Board of Aldermen, so I'm here tonight to talk to you about the Plan of Conservation and Development. Some of you may know that the Planning and Zoning Commission, with the help of the Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments, have been working on a update to the city's Plan of Conservation and Development for about the last 8 to 10 months. Jared Eon is here. The project manager has been Joanna Rogalski from the Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments. State plans or regional plans of conservation and development are required every 10 years. Similarly, every municipality in the state of Connecticut also has to have a municipal plan of conservation and development updated every 10 years. The last time the city had a plan done was in 2008, which means 2018 you need to have a new plan. The implications of not having a plan are that you are no longer eligible for discretionary funding. So a lot of the grants that you talked about tonight, and I'm sure you talk about regularly at these meetings, you would not be eligible for if you didn't have a plan of conservation and development. So the Planning and Zoning Commission did have a public workshop in January. There was a survey that was posted on the city's website. There was actually a very good response to that survey. And then the Planning and Zoning Commission forwarded the draft plan for your review, which is also a statutory requirement. This board has 65 days to review the plan, make any comments. The Planning and Zoning Commission would gladly incorporate those comments. These plans get better with the more input we receive on the plans. And then the Planning and Zoning Commission has a public hearing scheduled for June on adoption. So if the Board of Aldermen have any comments, we will gladly include those. We will recognize those updates in the June public hearing. We would incorporate them into the final plan. The Planning and Zoning Commission would adopt the plan and then forward it to the Office of Policy and Management, thereby making the city again eligible for any discretionary funding that the city may want to pursue. It's important to say that the plans are not binding, so the plans are advisory in nature. The plans are required to talk about a few things. They're required to talk about the future of transportation investments and the desired land uses of the city. So where do you want to have more density in terms of residential development? Where do you want to focus your industrial development, your manufacturing development? They talk about things like open space and recreation. And the idea is that cities should be looking far into the future and say, you know, over the next 5 to 10 years or even 15 years, where do we think the most desirable types of land uses are? And that is what the plan is. And again, it's not binding. It's a set of policies and strategies that decision makers like yourselves can use when you apply for grants and when you make decisions about where to move the city in the future. We do have several hard copies of the plan. The plan is available on the city's website under the Planning and Zoning Commission's tab on the website. If any of the aldermen would like a hard copy of the plan, please let me know, or Sheila know, or Jared know, and we'll get you a hard copy of the plan. We still are making some edits to the maps. There's a lot of maps that are required, maps of open space, wetlands, water courses. in future land use development. So if anyone would like a hard copy, please let myself know or Sheila know. We'll make sure that you get a hard copy. And hopefully we'll receive some comments from this board prior to June 25th. Are there any questions for me now, or Jared, is there anything you would like to add? No?
No, it's a monumental task. Everyone has been on board with this, we've been receiving public comment. It's definitely something we have to get done quickly so we don't lose out on that.
Any questions?
Any questions tonight? Mr. Stowe?
Sheila?
No, go ahead, Trevor. Sorry.
No. I should.
Oh, you were just acknowledging me?
No.
Oh, you have a
First of
question
all,
for me.
may I have a hard copy? Second,
Yes.
did you have anything, being your economic development chairman, and I'm sure been working hand in hand with Mr. Elder,
Yes.
is there anything you could add to that, please?
I mean, we talked a lot about the economic development areas of redevelopment, and to make sure that that's in the plan, and that we're careful about where our open space is and where the density areas are. So we've had a lot of good meetings with Dave and with the COG and Jared and others. So it's a good plan, actually. The draft is really well done, and I like it. I concur with most of what's in there.
We had
Almost all of it.
quarterly meetings with the staff. There was a small working group with Joanna from the NVCOG, myself, Jared, Sheila, and Dave and Rhonda had input. So there's already been a few iterations of the draft plan. There's been quite a bit of input already. So it looks significantly different from it did in 2008.
Our plan goes along with the way that the city is trying to develop the downtown. Right. And it's even extended further into updating our zoning regulations already, which we've already done. We were kind of ahead of the other group that came in to do a transit-oriented district study, which we had already done, and we already have implemented in our regulations. And the developers that have been coming in and talking to us have been looking at the 2008 plan and taking suggestions from that when proposing their developments. So having an updated plan of conservation and development helps everyone through every process.
And especially with grants, as Dave mentioned, because I refer to the plan, and actually we have to a lot of times say that we do have an updated plan of conservation and development in order to even be eligible for some of the state funds that exist.
I think Ansonia is really making out with the three, us being able to have the three of you working in tandem,
thank you.
combination with this.
Thank you.
Please remember to get me a hard copy.
Yep, I will.
Please. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There are no resolutions this evening, no resignations. We have an appointment letter from Mr. Cassetti. Mr. DeLibero, yes.
Yes, I'd like to, a motion to appoint Christine Posolinsky of 13 Sylvan Drive, Ansonia, to the Historical Commission as an alternate member.
For a second on that, Mr. Stowe? Any discussion? All in favor? Say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. No ordinances. Any new business, gentlemen? Mr. Blackwell, yes.
Yes, last week I had contacted Sheila O'Malley in reference to trying to update Nolan Field's facilities. We have to set up a meeting. I've also been in contact with Ansonia High School's athletic director and head football coach Tom Brockett, the baseball coach Patrick Lynch, and Mike Vaca, the old baseball coach. I'm asking anybody who wants to get together and put some input in on this. I have a drawing, an architectural drawing report from architects out of New York City that was done back in the 1970s, where the city was looking to update the field at that time. Since then, nothing has been done to any of the fields since the 70s, but I still have a copy of the architectural drawings. I'd like to get together with a group, and Sheila and whoever she feels necessary. There's got to be some kind of funding out there to try to update these facilities and bring them up to modern times. I just heard, well, we all just heard about the conditions of the softball fields up there. I hate putting good money into bad places. That place is it should have never been a softball facility to begin with. I'd rather get everybody together on the same page and try to make one very nice facility for the residents of Ansonia to enjoy and use. So anybody who is available, wishes to get together with us and just kind of try to get the ball rolling under her guidance. Money is obviously an issue, but there has to be, Public Works cannot maintain all these fields. They don't have the manpower to do so. A lot of the fields are being neglected because of that. So it's time that the city get together. Like I said, they tried to do it in the 70s. It never went forward, and nothing was done since then. I just think it's time that we start to address the issue and at least look at it and entertain whether we can or can't move forward under her direction. So I'm just opening it up to everybody here, even the public, whoever wishes to get involved, and try to make something. There's a lot of property up there that's just not being utilized. We have one football field and a Little League field and a baseball field that combines with the football field, but there's a lot of property up there that is just it's just open space that is not being used or developed or put to use for any of the kids. I'd like to get together with whoever and just try to strategize and see if it's worth it, if it's not worth it, and see what we can do for the community. That's all.
Any discussion on that?
Yeah, no, I just quickly to talk a little bit about this. I know nobody really likes to hear study, but I think what you really need in this city is a needs assessment. How many kids are using softball? How many kids are using baseball? What are the true needs of the city, and what are the facilities we have? What are the fields we have? What do we need? What don't we need? How much is each one going to cost? And what's in the best interest of the city? So I don't think a true needs assessment has been done. I don't know if it's ever been done, but it certainly hasn't been done recently. And those needs change. Soccer is the emphasis now, where it used to be, I don't know, tennis, basketball, whatever. But I think you need a true needs assessment. So we're going to have to look for some money to try to get that done. And then somebody comes in and Josh, you can be helpful with this, but then you get the expert in and they talk about what the city really needs. Here's the improvements that need to be made. Oh, expert, yeah, of course, that's why I was referring to you. But what changes really need to be made, and what's that dollar amount attached to it? Because you're right, there's no sense putting in money where it's very underutilized, right? But there is sense in putting money into,
I'm willing to get together, like I said to you earlier last week, and under your guidance to try to get this moving forward. Whatever you recommend, obviously you're the professional, I'm not. I'm just here to represent the people.
Well, that needs assessment too will help us moving forward to get grants and so forth.
Absolutely. So anybody who's interested, she's very knowledgeable.
I'll be on your team.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will too.
Great.
I was going to volunteer, but then Frank volunteered. Well, you're against me.
There might be a university that might, do a needs assessment study for us that would do it for free, maybe even. I don't know.
You don't have any former residents that are billionaires that would like to donate like $10 million?
We don't. One town over, we do, but we do have experts in the field of sports and athletics.
No, but all seriousness, like I said, we're putting, in my eyes, good money into facilities that are.
No, I agree.
There has to be some kind of master plan, public works included, everybody, to try to get. We're not a huge city. This should be very obtainable.
No, it shouldn't be a very, it shouldn't be a long effort, but a true needs assessment. I really think we need that, and I think I've said that before. So.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah.
Any other new business? Mr. Cassetti.
I've been getting some calls from constituents concerning Fanny McGar pathway, that we're supposed to be maintaining it, and there's ruts and gullies. I did observe some of them, but I didn't go all the way up. I'd like to have that addressed, so that at least I know that it's not a real city street, but there is an agreement on the books dating back to June of 1969 that states that it was signed by everybody that was concerned at the time that the city is responsible for the maintenance of that pathway. I would just like to have that taken care of, at least. Maybe Mike can go up and fill in the holes, fill in the potholes.
And that's parallel with Jewett Street?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Any other new business? Mr. DeLibero.
Yeah, I'd just like to take a moment to wish all the mothers and grandmothers a happy Mother's Day this Sunday.
New business, once, twice, okay. And the old business? Okay. We'll break into executive session. Mr. Marini,
The mayor, Sheila O'Malley, Rich Bashara.
motion to go into executive session by Mr. Cassetti, seconded by Mr. Dempsey. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 10-minute break, gentlemen.
Please.